So, why is it scary to be your most authentic self? So today's a topic, and I'm going to be talking about something that honestly kind of hits home for like a very specific era of my life. I had overheard someone saying this to someone a lot, and it had made me like rethink my own personal values and like if I was like being performative or not. And so today we're going to talk about how authenticity, or we're going to talk about authenticity versus perception. And I want to acknowledge that this isn't about like being perfect or enlightened. It's just like, why is it so scary to be your most authentic self sometimes? And like, it's kind of ironic when people like say that they want authenticity when authenticity challenges almost everybody's comfort zones. The more authentic somebody is, the more threatened somebody else feels if they're not secure in themselves and like they feel connected with their authenticity. Like those people are going to clash heads because they are not seeing things like that. And so in this episode, I'm going to be addressing why authenticity is threatening to some people and what the Yellow House Collective represents and how to handle misperception with grace. So I feel like it's very important to address things like that. Sorry, my cat, like, I had my window open, so the cat hair. Yeah. So basically, we're gonna start off by by talking about why authenticity is scary. So authenticity is a mirror. The more authentic someone is, the more authentic you are with yourself, the more that you're gonna reflect back onto people whether or not they're authentic within themselves or not. And it shows people what they aren't ready to see in themselves. So like if people like I said, like if people aren't fully like with themselves and they're not like working through and like fully understanding like beyond being just like the vessel, like it just shows them where they're lacking and people hate addressing like what they are. And some people like will see you as being performative when you're no longer performing for anybody. So like the more authentic that you're being, the more performative to somebody else that you're going to be, because to them they don't see you as someone who just is okay with like wanting to like have fun with their inner child and like live their life and like be happy but also be like conscious rather than like in like a shell of like you're like instead of like putting on a persona for somebody else. Lost my train of thought there. Instead of like boasting about whatever aspect of your life that makes you feel more okay throughout your day, like whatever aspect of your life you choose to cope with. It's pretty much when you remove your mask, people assume that it's just another mask because in their minds, it's just like, oh, well, they just switched. So, like, if they switched on me, then what I had was real, and what they're doing now isn't real. But that's not because you're fake. It's because they don't recognize what's real in you, because they can only recognize what's real in you by knowing what's real in them. So what they don't know about themselves, they can't know about you. And if they do know it about you and aren't ready to recognize it in themselves, a lot of the time that's going to reflect with a lot of envy. So everybody's authenticity radiates differently. So people can feel like one person can feel 30 times more comfortable talking to a million people where somebody else feels 50 million times more comfortable not talking to anybody at all. That's literally introverts, extroverts. Like, and either way to live is perfectly fine. There's something so authentic and genuine, though, that radiates from people who fully feel secure with themselves and are genuinely standing in their authenticity. Secure people don't need an audience for validation. And when people don't need an audience for validation, it confuses those who rely on that performance for acceptance. Because that, it's a different level that, like, just kind of, it's like a parallel different, like, they're just gonna fly right by each other and they're not, like, synced in together. Until someone's ready to grow, they're not gonna be able to realize why, how, who, what, when, where, or anything in between of why you had to grow. And this is kind of like why it's important to recognize security versus perception. Because for these people, it doesn't matter. For people who stand in their authenticity, it doesn't matter how people perceive them. You can perceive me however you want. I don't really care. I'm me. Like, okay, like if you like the simplest accusation. I have a friend and like he used to get around, and so I have created this ongoing joke, and I'll just like call him a slut. I'll be like, "You're a slut. Like you're just a slut," and he'll be like, "No, not anymore." Da 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 da. And recently, I've had to like tell him, like, dude, like, just so you know, the more you defend yourself when you're not something, makes it pointless for you to like. You can, you don't have to defend yourself to me. Like, you know who you are and you know what you're doing. Who cares what I'm saying? You know? And he was like, "You're right." And I'm gonna make the same joke in a month, and he's gonna forget what we talked about, and he's gonna have the same reaction. But like, it's a perception thing, and it's whether or not you want or need or feel like it's important to be perceived or not. And it's not ignorance, and it's not bluntness. It's literally just inner alignment. Inner alignment. When perception stops mattering, authenticity is so effortless. Like it's not even something that you like have to think twice about. It just like happens and it's done. Now the issue here is the projection problem, because some people, when when they're faced with you and you make them reflect, people project instead of reflect. So like, you reflect onto them what they're lacking. They don't, either they can reflect onto themselves or they can project whatever they are choosing to see in you, or to whatever they see in themselves onto you. They're the people in the world who literally will project how they feel about themselves onto people who are in, like, their authenticity and can be open, honest, genuine people without fear. And a lot of the times people do this because authenticity will literally just like highlight where you're not secure yet. And if you're not ready to deal with where you're not secure yet, instead of asking how you got there, you just get defensive. Like, and that's what they're doing. That's possibly what you're doing, depending on where you are in your life. I don't know. And a lot of the times, like, people, and I do this sometimes. Like, I'm not saying like I'm above it. It happens, you know. We all project occasionally. Shit sucks. It's okay. But like, people who do this on like a like cyclically, like this is something that they do on a consistent basis, this is like a system that they can't escape from, it's often because it scares them that they aren't able to do that for themselves, and that what it means that they can see somebody else being in a position where they aren't there yet. And so the defense mechanisms that like come from this are instant assumptions and getting insecure and whipping out like stories for comparison. They've instantly made assumptions and they get insecure, and then they do literally whatever they can to mask with the story, like with whatever storyline that they can find to paint you as whatever they need you to be so you no longer reflect what you do onto them. Which it's kind of crazy that they do that because you wouldn't even be able to know what you're reflecting. They're just going to react. And you're just going to be like, okay, cool. But like in all reality, what they don't understand is you don't even know what's going on. And they don't either, if we're going to be completely honest. And so I'm going to touch more on what I had addressed in the beginning of the video, the Yellow House Collective, which this is this is what I call our subscribers. This is like where it stems from. But these are people who move through life like knowing of everything that's going down, yet they still have the abilities to stay secure within themselves and to operate from their authenticity and to not have to perform for anybody else. They're connecting with their most authentic self. They're reaching and they're climbing for their most high path. Like they want more. And so they put themselves in the position for more. The yellow house represents people and just a space of warmth and stability and light and self-awareness. It's not exclusive or elitist, it's just descriptive. And so when people who feel this warmth and this security within themselves, when they're faced with people who are literally just projecting what they're going through onto them, like there's two ways you can go about this. You can, one, call it out. That one's a bit more feisty. Or you can treat it with grace. This one normally makes this a really smooth transition for you to never have to deal with it again. So you have the two options. You can inform them of whatever you've recognized, and that maybe like whatever. And I used to do this. I would I look at people. I'd be like, I don't know what you have going on, but like I want you to know that whatever you're mad at right now, and like you're projecting that onto me, that's a you problem, not a me problem. I'm gonna need you to handle that. I'm not gonna deal with it. Like, and that's literally how I handle it. I just call it out. I'm just like, you're literally projecting right now, and I'm sorry, but like, fuck off. Like, I'm not your test subject for like your pain. What? Or you can treat it with grace. And this just means like just kind of like you can like just be like, okay, like yeah, like that's cool. And then like just be a lot more gentle about it rather than like calling them out. Like you could smile, walk away, ignore, and you can either choose to walk away from the situation completely or understand that like these people just need a little bit of tenderness. And so like when I call people out, I try to be nice about it, and there's times where I do come off more aggressive. But for a lot of the times when I call people out, sometimes I feel like that is my grace. And like it's as simple as that. Like me saying this to you right now is a form of grace, and that I need you to accept, because we shouldn't have to be in this situation again. Just because you're like treating people with tenderness and kindness doesn't mean that you're enabling what they're doing. When you're treating people with tenderness and grace, you're understanding without self-sacrificing. You're just like, yeah, okay, bye. Shoot, boom, you know? And a lot of the times in situations like this, I feel like grace matters because what they can't do is give you grace. Because obviously, they would, if they were able to give you grace, they wouldn't be projecting onto you right now. Ugh. I can't answer this phone call right now. Hold on. I have to answer this phone call right now. All right, hold on, guys. Hi, Pook.
Hello, I'm with Jaden right now, and I'm gonna update you on the plans.
Okay.
Jaden said to meet at his house at 7:30, and then we're all getting to the train at. The train leaves at 8:02. Yeah, the train leaves at 8.
Okay.
Yes, and then so you have to buy your ticket for them. The trains home are like 6 something or 9 something, so I'll probably leave at 6.
Okay.
And then we're gonna get there. We're gonna go to the river too.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you buy your tickets there? I don't know. I think I might stay home and then I'll just come to your house in the morning. Because I go in at 5 and I don't know what time I'm going to get off.
Okay. You could buy the tickets on, if you download the South Shore app, it's like $8.25 like for there and $8.25 back.
Okay. Just so you guys know.
I'll show you tomorrow so you know how to do it. Or okay. I can buy them and you can just send me money.
That's fine. I can just send you money. Just so you guys are fully aware, you called me in the middle of me recording a podcast episode, so I may or may not edit you out. I don't know. Guys, we're going to St. Patrick's Day tomorrow.
Hello, podcast. Sorry for the interruption.
Is that it?
Her speak, she's awesome. Yeah, that was all.
Okay, cool. I will send you the money. Just let me know how much it is.
Okay.
Okay, later.
Later.
Love you. Bye. Okay. So, anyways. Obviously, it's not gonna be a life-changing factor for people. However, what it is gonna do is it's gonna give you the ability to peacefully go to sleep at night. When you give people grace, it makes it a lot easier to just be like, okay, whatever. I gave this love and kindness, and this is the result. And I'm okay with that. And sometimes you're not, and sometimes you have to call it out. Normally, you'll know when these situations are. But a lot of the times, what grace does is it preserves your peace, and grace will protect your authenticity, and it leaves, depending on how your people pleasing levels are, it can leave no guilt left behind. You did what you felt was right to you, and no matter what that turnout was, you'll be able to move through it. So now this is where like the role of like the mindset shift comes in. So you tie the internal growth with, so act, reflect, and adjust. And what you're supposed to be doing is acting through a mindset that will make sure that when you're done with this situation, you can walk away from it with a level head. So before anything happens, when a situation arises, do whatever you feel you need to do in that moment. And then once you've acted, reflect on that and then adjust. Because the mind changes fast and that's okay. So you could say something that you regret afterwards, but as long as you're able to reflect and understand why what you did in the moment, like, let your mind shift. Because it happens to a lot of people, and it really does just happen just like that. So I feel like we have to also be kind of aware of the fluidity of human potential. No one is the same, and no one will ever stay the same. So, for every person, including yourself in your life, you have to prepare for change, growth, regression, and expansion. Everyone deserves this same thing. So, give everybody the same grace to be everything that is their potential. And they'll hold themselves wherever they see, and they'll stay stuck wherever they need to be. But this way, your authenticity becomes self commitment rather than comparison. And so, to finish this out, guys, I just want to kind of restate the key takeaways. Authenticity is threatening to the people who are unhealed in the world. Because of that, projection will often be a defense mechanism. Grace is the highest level of response. However, you have to give yourself grace first. And if that means that this person doesn't get any, make sure that you're able to reflect and move through that once the situations have closed out. And I just want to remind you how important it is to protect your peace and honor your growth and accept nothing comes from others except for evolution. Being authentic isn't about being admired, it's about being aligned. And alignment scares people who are still performing. Do the peace.